If you're tuning in, you've probably hired a virtual assistant before and it has failed. Let me tell you, you're not alone. 80% of virtual assistant engagements end within 90 days. And so often we think that we're the problem, or that our business is the problem, or the virtual assistant is the problem. Let me tell you, that's wrong. I'm Lauren Apple, and I am a scaling strategist for CEO parents, and I have worked with hundreds of CEO parents, helping them scale their revenue and their margin. And part of that is delegating, handing something off to a virtual assistant. So you'd think I'd tell everyone to hire a virtual assistant, right? I'm a huge proponent of it. It is a necessity for many CEO parents. But that's wrong. I don't tell everyone to hire a virtual assistant. The truth? CEOs hire 3, 4, even 5 VAs before giving up. They think they're the problem. They're bad at delegating. Maybe it's the wrong person that they hired and they didn't know who the right person was, but the VA wasn't the problem. Let me clue you in on this. The timing was. So today I'm going to talk to you about why your last virtual assistant hire failed and how to fix the next one. We all know the cycle. You built this business for margin and space and presence for the things that matter most. But as it has grown and the revenue has increased, you've gotten to this place where you are working far more than you ever intended to, 50, 60-hour weeks. But you're making good money, maybe even great money. However, you're missing soccer games. You're on your phone during family dinners. You're missing out on reading bedtime stories to your kids. You barely have time to eat or take care of yourself each and every day. And you wonder, if I just had some help. So you go and hire a virtual assistant. And at first it feels like such a celebration. This is a huge relief. There's so much things taken off of my plate. And then quickly it turns into you being the bottleneck. There's a million questions. You feel like you're spending more time explaining than doing. There's mistakes that are happening after one after another, and you're redoing their work. And eventually you say to yourself, this is simply not working. So you end the engagement. Sound familiar? Let me tell you about a client of mine named Sarah. Sarah went through 3 virtual assistants in 18 months. Every single one of them didn't work out. She was convinced that she was the problem. She was convinced that she was just not meant to delegate, that everything had to be on her plate, that she was just too picky, too much of a control freak, that she was bad at leading someone else. But she was wrong. Here's what we did. We took her through our VA readiness assessment, our roadmap that walks through, and we're going to get to that in a minute. And it revealed some major problems that I see time and time again with CEO parents as I work with them. Problem number 1 is she had absolutely 0 documented processes. Everything in her business lived in her head. And not only did it live in her head, it actually was by intuition or gut instinct. She did one thing for this client and something different for this client, and every single new action she took was just off of feeling and energy and what she felt like was best in that situation. And so she would record Loom videos or walk through a process that she was doing to hand off to her virtual assistant, but it wasn't the same every single time. And she expected virtual assistants to read her mind, to remember what was the decision that made it look like this and why did it look like this sometimes. How could they possibly succeed if they weren't living and breathing the mindsets and the expectations that were inside of her brain? No documented processes. Problem number 2 is she had absolutely no boundaries. She was available to clients 24/7. So when a virtual assistant would ask her, when do you want this done? What's the priority or the deadline? She would simply shrug and say, whenever you can get to it. There was no urgency. There was no structure. There was no boundaries around her calendar and her time management and her planning. And so the VA didn't know what was important and what wasn't. And the very third problem, not only was she stuck in this place where everything lived in her head, but the third problem is she tried to delegate everything at once to a virtual assistant. Her inbox management, her calendar scheduling and planning, her client communication, bookkeeping within her business, social media management, all of it to one person on day 1. Not only was it overwhelming for her to delegate it, but it was unbelievably overwhelming for a virtual assistant. And it was impossible to train. There was no systematic process that brought her through onboarding her virtual assistant. So you know what the result is. We already killed the lead here. Every VA failed. Not because they were bad VAs, but because Sarah set them up to fail. And here's the truth. Sarah is most of my clients before working with me. This isn't about being bad at delegation. This is about hiring before you are ready. So I'm going to walk you through the problems that I see with so many of my clients and how you cannot end up in the same place. So the problem is we're hiring in chaos, right? You get to this point in your business that is going great, but you can't accept any more clients. Balls are being dropped. Things are falling through the cracks. And the delivery on your client fulfillment is not up to par because you are just burnt out. You're working more hours than you're made to work. You're exhausted. You're at the end of your rope. And so what happens is that you hire when you're desperate. So unbelievably desperate. And when you delegate in the midst of chaos, you are simply outsourcing chaos. It's not going to get streamlined by you outsourcing it. There's no systems, there's no processes, no boundaries. A virtual assistant can't fix that. Let me say that again. When you delegate chaos, you are outsourcing chaos. A virtual assistant cannot fix your chaos when they are thrown into the middle of chaos. They will end up with questions all day. You will be the bottleneck. They will be bothering you. You will get frustrated that things aren't moving through the pipeline, but it will all rely on your shoulders and you won't actually free up your time. You'll actually give yourself back more time and more energy that you have to take on in order to get you out of that chaos and allow your virtual assistant to support you. It's like having a construction crew already hired, ready to go on the job without any blueprints. They're ready to work, but they don't know what they're building. And so they just stand around confused. You know, sometimes we walk through those construction zones and we see people see and we're like, any work getting done? They need to have clear directions. They need to have a picture, an image of what they are doing and what they are walking through in order to take things off your plate. And so the fix is what we call the road method here at Systems to Scale. It is the right order for delegation. Delegation is not step one. So many business gurus and strategists out there tell you the first thing you should do in your business when you get overwhelmed is hire a virtual assistant. But that couldn't be further from the truth, which is why you see most virtual assistant engagements end. It's why you see majority of churn in VA agencies is only 6 to 9 months because people get frustrated and it doesn't solve their problems. Delegation isn't step one. It's step 4 in our road method program. And so I want to bring you through that method framework, okay? Road, R in road stands for remove. This is ruthless elimination. Before delegating, ask yourself, does this even need to be done? So often in our business, we do things because it's the way we've always done them. But let me tell you, what got you here is not going to get you there, okay? I had a client who was spending 5 hours every single month running reports, and no one read them. And they were about to hand off these reports to their virtual assistant, and I challenged them and said, what if you just stop doing them and see if anyone noticed? Nobody noticed. So just like that, instantly they gained back 5 hours every month. That's remove. Stop doing that doesn't need to be doing, okay? Stop doing the things that don't need to be done. Stop doing the things that you always did that aren't serving you or increasing your ROI or giving you margin back or allowing you to have more sales and more clients come through your pipeline. Stop doing the things that you've always done. Reevaluate them consistently. That's R. O is optimize. This is where we make things easier. We make them streamlined, more simple, more clear, less complex, more efficient in our business. When I work with CEO parents, I am all about simplicity and ease. The things we do in our business and in our homes should be about ease and simplicity. It shouldn't be complex. It shouldn't be a million integrations. It shouldn't have 12 steps for everything. Let's bring it down to 5 steps, maybe even 3 steps. Optimizing is removing the unnecessary. After removing the unnecessary, you then optimize what's left. You make it easier and faster. You ask yourself, can I template this? Can I batch this? Can I simplify this? Let's go back to my client, Sarah. She was writing a custom email for every single lead inquiry she had. She took 15 to 20 minutes for each and every inquiry that came in. And so what we did is we said, this is a waste of your time doing this. And we created 5 templates for the common questions that people were asking, that her leads were asking. And so now her 20 minutes has been turned down to 2 minutes. She can still customize. She can still make it feel like she's giving extra value to each and every inquiry, but it takes her far less time because we implemented templates within that process. That's optimize. Make the remaining of your work after removing faster before handing it off. And then A in road is automate. This is where tech comes before people. Okay, we live in the technology era, right? AI, everybody's saying AI is taking over the world. I don't think that AI is going to replace your virtual assistant, but there's a lot of technology at our disposal that makes things streamlined. The manual, repetitive work that you're doing on the daily can be done by technology and tools. For your scheduling, you can use Calendly instead of emails back and forth trying to find a time that works. Have somebody schedule on a link that you send over and over again. For your email sequences, you can automate those through ConvertKit or another email marketing platform. For your invoice reminders, please do not pay somebody to be sending out invoice reminders. Make that an automation within your accounting software, that they're getting reminders after a certain number of days. This is stuff that we are wasting our time on regularly, and then we hand it off to a virtual assistant, and not only are we not wasting our time, but now we're wasting our money on it because we're investing in somebody else doing it when technology can take it over. Okay, it's a very common mistake. We hire virtual assistants for, $1,000 plus a month for work that can be done by $20 a month subscription for technology like Zapier to create a workflow instead of a human doing it for them. That's automate. Tech for repeatable tasks before hiring people. And then lastly, step 4 in the road method is finally, hurrah, delegate, okay? Finally, you bring in support, but not before you remove, optimize, and automate. Only after you've removed the unnecessary, optimized what remains, and automated what you can, then you delegate what's left. And what's magical is when you get to step 4, it feels like the rains have stopped and the clouds have parted and there is nothing more beautiful, and you will catch that outsourcing bug and want to start delegating everything. Because by then you'll have documented processes because you optimized them. You'll have boundaries because you removed what didn't matter, and you will know exactly what to delegate because you simplified first. So instead of wasting your money in the investment for a virtual assistant, you are actually giving money to where the important things matter in your business. So when a VA asks, how should I do this? You say, well, here's the SOP, the documented process, it's 7 steps. Or when they say, when do you need this by? You can say every Monday by 10 a.m. because that's when I work on my marketing stuff and I need that in front of me then. This is when VA partnerships work. Let's get back to Sarah's transformation. I told her you're not ready for a VA yet. But 30 days later, after we went through, she did some coaching and went through the road method with me, we removed 12 hours of busy work, just completely eliminated. Not handed off, not automated, eliminated. Then we optimized. We took the templated most common task and we created processes for them. We templated them. We made them streamlined. We optimized them. And then we came in and we automated. We had 3 key automations that saved an additional 5 hours of work. This is things like your lead to client nurturing or your client onboarding. It saves hours repetitively. And so we saved 5 more hours in there. And so when we placed her virtual assistant, she had clear documented processes, defined boundaries and expectations, realistic workload to hand off. And the result is she has been with the same virtual assistant for 2 years now. They are a true partner in her business. Her virtual assistant knows exactly what, when, and how to do the things, and she is taking off more and more of Sarah's plate every single day. And let me say, those first 3 VAs, they weren't bad. Sarah just wasn't ready. Once she was ready, everything clicked. And it was beautiful. And it's this story that you hear of people saying that, man, when I got a virtual assistant, it was the most magical thing ever. We hear those stories and we try and we fail and we say, why isn't that working for us? It's because we're not ready yet. And so here's what I want you to hear. Your last VA hire didn't work. It was probably not your fault. It was also probably not the virtual assistant's fault. You just hired before you were ready. And I don't want that to happen again. And so we have a VA readiness diagnostic that we have created to be customized and fed into your life and business right now. It's a free assessment that tells you where you are, if you're ready to hire a virtual assistant, or what things you need to get in order first based off of our road method. It assesses your documented processes. If you don't have those, you're spending all your time explaining versus delegating. It assesses your clear boundaries. If you don't have those, your VA won't know what's urgent versus what can wait. It helps you remove what's unnecessary. If not, you're paying someone for busy work that shouldn't exist and that doesn't bring your business forward. And it optimizes what remains. If not, you're delegating inefficient processes and you will be frustrated. And it also assesses what is automated in your business. If you don't have automations, you're overpaying for work that technology can handle at a much more cost-effective rate. And it'll tell you if you're actually ready to let go. If you're not actually ready to let go, you'll micromanage, you'll redo work, and that person will not stick around for very long. It takes 3 minutes. It assesses all of these things in there. And so I just challenge you, click the link below in the description of this video, take the VA readiness diagnostic. It will give you the exact next steps, what to do before hiring, confirmation if you're ready now. It will give you custom recommendations based off of the way that you answer the questions. And it will tell you what pathway makes sense for your place in your business right now. And the best part, it's honest, it's real. If you're not ready, I'm not gonna match you with a virtual assistant and waste your money. I would rather hold back, tell you you're not ready, instead of finding out that you failed again. But if you are ready, we have virtual assistants at our ready with Family First VAs. They're US-based moms who get the balance of life and the freedom that comes with life and business. And Sarah, after working with her virtual assistant for 1 year, this is what she said to me. Lauren, I wasted $15,000 and 18 months on VAs I wasn't ready for. I wish I had taken this diagnostic first. And that's why it's free. Hiring before you're ready is expensive financially, emotionally, and you start thinking you're the problem, that you're bad at delegating, that you're a control freak, that you can never outsource. It just doesn't work for you. But you're not. You just weren't ready, and that's okay. So take that VA readiness diagnostic that's linked in the description below. Take the 3 minutes, save months of frustration and thousands of dollars. Answer the questions as honestly as possible, and you will get a customized report afterwards in your inbox. Reach out if you want to jump on a call, but I hope you guys hear this. You are not what's broken in your VA failing before, your VA hire failing before. You're not. You weren't ready, and we can help you get ready, and we can do it in 30 days. Reach out if you have more questions. Thanks so much.